Hello, it's Jane here, and I'm sitting once again at what has actually turned out to be a really, really useful table. So much as I mocked Mike for his efforts at putting pallets together, I'm really pleased with this. It's actually, it's coming really handy. But the reason I am sitting at this table today is because I want to talk to you about dahlias. Yes, dahlias. Now, if I'd said to you, even 3-4 years ago, that a dahlia would turn my eye, then I would have thought I was joking. Which is a long-winded way around the fact that over the last couple of years, I think I've fallen a bit for them. I really have. I mean, you know, I must admit, in my head, they were always sort of the sort of things that were grown by older men for shows, like chrysanthemums, and you would just see borders of block colour of dahlias, and nothing about it really interested me. I just thought it was a bit of an old man's thing, but it's just alienated half of you. But well done you, because you've kept the thing going, and really, the more I've looked into it, the more I've realised there is to them. And what really made me completely fall head over heels last year was the fact I had a few in this bed behind me, which is where they're all going to go this year as well. I think only 3 or 4. They kept going all summer long. They were flowering way past everything else. I was taking them home in buckets and constantly had them as fresh flowers in the house. And I saw one of the allotments a bit further down has also got a bed full of all different coloured dahlias, and I just thought to myself, that's what I want next year. I want to be able to expand my dahlia collection and learn a bit more about them. So that's what I'm jolly well doing. So I'm going to bring you along for the dahlia ride and show you what I'm on about, because what I'm going to do is show you some that I grew last year, some that I've ordered this year, and what I'm going to do now, which is basically today I am going to be potting them up. Right, rewind all that. I know there'll be a lot of you out there, excuse me, who have grown dahlias for years, and you have possibly all got your own way of doing it. You'll have your favourites, you'll have your favourite way of doing it, you'll have your top tips and tricks. If you have, please put them in the comments below, because we can all learn from them. But what I know is there are various ways you can deal with dahlias. I mean, they grow as, if you ignore, I'll show you this in a minute properly, but if you ignore the state of this tuber, they tend to grow as tubers. You can grow them from seed, just a bit more long-winded, and that seeded flower will produce a tuber and carry on for years to come. But you tend to buy them as tubers. Once you've got them in the soil, really they are a perennial. And once they're in the soil, you can leave them there throughout the winter, throughout the frost, throughout everything, as long as you know that they are somewhat protected and that they are not going to be sitting in really, really wet, damp, icy cold soil. They like a bit of drainage. So for example, if you've got a clay soil, I would recommend that you dig them up. If you've got a sandy soil, you might be able to get away with leaving them out. Depending where you live, if you've got quite a mild climate, leave your dahlias out if they're in a sheltered area of your garden. They might just make it, you know. But if you want to be safe, dig them up. I'll show you in a minute. I don't think we've been very safe with mine. So if you have dug them up, you would leave them in a dark, dry place, hopefully with no mud or anything on them, so they're all nice and clean. Some people leave them upside down for maybe a day, just so any juices or anything come out the tubers through the neck of the dahlia, but then store them the right way up again, because if you leave them upside down, I'm sorry, I'm going right round the houses to tell you one particular thing then, but if you've dug them up and you hang them upside down to drain them slightly, make sure that you then turn them back the right way round for the rest of the winter. Otherwise, when they start producing shoots, the shoots are going to be going back on themselves and you'll end up with an upside down dahlia. So you can dig them up, store them in a frost-free dark place over winter, or you can just buy them. And they usually, if you buy them from a nursery, they will be sent out round about the end of February, which is when these were. And as soon as you've got them, you can start working with them. I mean, I've had these in here for about a month now, and I'll show you why. So yes, you can leave them in, you can dig them up and store them, or you can buy them, but the basics are the same. You will have, I'm going to have to open one to show you. Here we are. I'll open the one from, this is the one from Wilko's. Excuse me, this is £1.50 this. And I showed you this when I did the Let's Talk About Flowers video, which I'll put a link to. It's called Lucky Number, never grown it before, but for £1.50 I thought it was worth it. Because if you look at this, what we're looking for with a dahlia, ideally, are some nice, ooh, it's all broken to pieces. Okay, so what you're looking for, you've got your tuber, which is basically where the food is stored, and they're these lovely long things here. The roots come out the end of those, they feed the tuber feeds the plant. And then you've got the crown and the neck of your dahlia, and that is where you will start to get shoots coming up. Now, if you're eagle-eyed and you can see as far away as I can get, because there's no way I can leapfrog this table to show you, there are no shoots coming out of there yet, but not to worry. You've got the basic thing there. Now, all these little tubers have fallen off. It is up to you whether you then want to plant them and see what happens, but unless they have got, that one's got part of the neck on, unless they've got part of the neck on, they are not going to spring shoots. Okay, some people say if you score a little bit of your tuber across, shoots will appear from that. I've never tried it. Let me know if you've tried it, let me know if it works. But that is the basic tuber that we are going to be planting, right? So they should all look a bit like that. So you've got your tuber, your crown, your neck. Let's pop that back in there. So I have got, I'll show you what I've got so far. I sent away, this was with Christmas money. This is what you end up doing with Christmas money. You end up spending it all on dahlias. But they were, I was getting special offers with them. So I've got one from I've got one from Sarah Raven called Kathy Olay. I'll put a picture of it up. Beautiful, beautiful, quite popular, I think. I've got one from Sarah Raven, and this is called Pen Hill Watermelon, and I realise I'm just showing you plastic bags here, but I'll show you better in a minute. These are compostable, home compostable, so that's good. So I've got that one, and I've got another one, and this is the smallest of all of them, and yet it's the biggest tuber, and this one is called Totally Tangerine. I'm going to show you. Okay, and again, oh yes, that's nice. No bits falling off there. Can you see that? You've got your tubers. Oh look, it started to shoot. Okay, so we've got a shoot there already. So this now, because that is shooting, these tubers are now going to be looking to be able to provide food for those shoots, so these need to go in. Okay, so I've got that one. I need to keep them with the bags, because you know what I'm like, I'll forget what they are. And then Jazz over at Alternative Smallholding told me that Farmer Gracie had a sale on, so I had to find a little bit of extra Christmas money and go over there. And I must admit, what I've loved about Farmer Gracie is the packaging. I'm a right wuss for packaging, and these are in such lovely paper bags, proper like thick parcel paper. This one is called Bishop of Oxford. This one, there is some damage there, that tube has come off. I'm going to pop it in anyway, it's not rotting or anything. And then this last one here, I had to buy because of the name. It's called Honker, which actually when I saw it, it made me smile, but it's such an unusual dahlia. It's like a star, and this actually has got quite a few shoots coming up on it. So again, I will show you that closer up when I come to plant them. But I'm going to bring you in close now to show you what not to do when you store your tubers. Okay, so if you have stored your tubers and you think you've done it all right and you're very happy with yourself, and then you go to get them out the next year to sort them out for spring, you might find you've got something like that. which is what I've got. And the pure reason is because I didn't look after it. And what has happened here, you can see that is just completely desiccated. If I break those tubers open, in fact, you know, may as well just chop these. Let's have a look. Because to be honest, I don't think there's much to save. The top is dead. Let's just have a look. Look, that is inside one of the tubers. So that, all of those are the same. You can tell just by crunching them. On the other hand, I mean, look at that. There you go, dead. A little bit of rot in there as well. So that can go in the compost. On the other hand, here is another one that again, didn't look after at all well. And the problem with this one, I remember when I dug it up, I was absolutely thrilled because they get to such a size over one season. This went in about that size and just came out this monster. But the day I dug it up was really, really raining and it was covered in mud. So I left it in the greenhouse like you do, and I thought I'll come back to it another day and clean the mud off. And of course I didn't. So what's happened, it's just been sitting there drying, supposedly drying, and as you can see, oh, how delicious is that? It's got incredibly mouldy. There's even little insects. I mean, it's keeping the little bits of wildlife happy. So as soon as I realised, I started to take some of these mouldy bits off. Now, what's happened, of course, is these bits of mud that I didn't rinse off have just encased the mouldy bits. I mean, look at that, that's just mud. And just allowed them to sort of, you see, I shouldn't be pulling that, just in case. It's just allowed them to moulder. And, you know, it must be doing good for some sort of creature or wildlife, but there you go, I don't want them. However, what I had noticed was it's actually got a little shoot on. Can you see? It's actually trying to live. So what I'm going to do with this is try and clean it up, which will mean probably getting rid of most of these tubers. That's a broken one, that's going. That was already off. You know what, this is one of those things, once you start trimming things back, it'd be interesting to see if there's anything left. It's no good keeping anything that's mouldy. And oh, that's what I was going to say, whereas these are completely dried out and crispy, you can usually feel with these that they're squishy, you know. And if you look, I've cut that open inside. That ain't no good. Okay, so I'm going to try and clean this up. I've got a little bit of hope. Look, you see that's just come off in my hand, but look, there's another shoot. It's really trying. So leave this with me and I'll come back to you and we'll see if it's worth potting on at all. Okay, you know what? I'm really quite pleased with that. I've got, I mean, you wouldn't believe how much came off. I mean, look at that. See what I mean? It's just not very healthy looking at all, is it? But if you look at this now, this is what we've got left. Now it's been cleaned up. I've taken off the old roots. You can see how productive it was last year because all these stems were just, well, they were huge and they were covered in dahlias. Nelly said chrysanths, oh dear, maybe that's next. But yeah, I've given all these tubers a little squeeze. I've squeezed the tubers. Sounds a bit odd, feels a bit clinical, but yeah, they all seem to be okay. So it has got, I've come across quite a few more shoots. Of course, I can't see any now I'm talking to you. Oh yeah, look, these are going upside down, bless them. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pot it up anyway. And if it comes, it's a bonus. If it sends up some shoots, I'm going to maybe think of taking some cuttings. Oh, Jane, moving up to intermediate level. But for now, we'll pot it up and see what happens. And I'm going to take you in the greenhouse because it started to rain. Okay, more headless video shots from Jane, the headless gardener. Should change the name of my channel, shouldn't I? This one, I'm just going to pot up one to show you because otherwise I think it would be miserable all round. So I'm going to pot up the Honker Black, which, like I say, looks like the smallest flower, but it seems to be one of the biggest tubers. And if we have a look, can you see what I mean about the little shoots coming up? Okay, so we need to know that is last year's stem. So that is the top. These are the tubers, which are basically the food source for the plant. And these are the old roots, which I suppose you could snip off if you wanted to, but I'm not going to. Right, okay, I'm just choosing any old pot as long as, oh, can I squish that in there? Might need a slightly bigger one. I think I can manage to squish that in there. I need to be able to get that in there. It is not going to stay in that pot. I am not going to grow these in these pots. The main thing to do, the main thing I'm doing at the moment is just giving these pots, giving the tubers something to get started in. So we want to give them some moisture so they can start kicking into growth. I'm just using an ordinary multi-purpose compost. I could mix it with anything else. Excuse me, if I wanted to. I could mix it with vermiculite. I could, ideally, you could use spent compost. That'd save a bit of money. But to be honest, I've just gone through recently all my dead pots or pots of dead things and thrown the spent compost on the beds. So what I'm trying to do now, let's hope it's successful without breaking any of the tubers off. Look, it doesn't matter if I squeeze it in like that. It's not going to be in there forever. It is literally going to be in there for long enough to get it started. So I'm putting it in like that. It's actually touching the base of the compost there. Doesn't matter if it doesn't look pretty. I just need to make sure I've got it the right way up. Look at that. Look, you see how that's distended that pot. It's probably not the best example to show you really, is it? But yeah, doesn't matter. It's just got to be sitting in something damp for the tubers to get hold of, to be able to start feeding those shoots. So what you need to do is just keep tapping it so it's filling in between the tubers. Give it a little bit of gentle encouragement, making sure it's going in and around all the tubers. And when you get to that stage, really, you're pretty much done. I'm going to leave the stem sticking out. Some people cover them completely. Some people soak their tubers before potting them up, because again, that just helps the tubers get a water source quickly. It just gives them a bit of a boost. But I haven't done that because look, that is now in there. Let me find, oh, you'll be impressed by this. Look, all my labels done already. Oh, Jane, you can tell it's the start of the season. It won't last, but have I got one for that? Oh, you know what? Isn't that typical? I haven't got one for that one. Right, here we go. Honker. I must have more than I thought. I thought I only had 6. Okay, label in. What I will do then, I will water it from the top just to make sure that the compost is coming into really good contact with the tubers. And then I'm going to leave it alone and just put it, you know, again, somewhere frost-free for it to be getting on with. So round about middle to end of May, maybe even early June, depending on the frost dates. By the time that goes to potting out into its natural bed, it will have just had a head start and will hopefully be producing shoots. Okay, here I am at a funny old angle in the greenhouse. I keep bumping my head, look. But with my dahlias in pots of different sizes. It's funny, you know, because this one here in the teeny tiny pot, that's the, what is it, the cafe au lait. That actually gets really quite big blooms, but the tuber's only tiny. And like I say, they are not staying in these pots. These are purely to start feeding the tuber, to be able to give them a bit of a head start when they go in the ground. So let me know how you do your dahlias. Do you leave them in the ground? Do you pot them up earlier in the year, January, February, say? Do you soak them first before you put them in? I think, you know, it's going to be one of those things that everybody's got a different way of doing it. So do let me know in the comments below. Also, yeah, what do you do with these things? Are they viable? Is that worth putting in a pot? I might just do it anyway. Seems a shame to throw it away, but I imagine if it hasn't got a neck, you know, it's not really got much to go on. So, but let me know what you think I should do. No, I better not say that. What do you do with those? But otherwise, I hope you're all okay. We are over Easter now. We are racing towards the summer. That is what I tell myself. And yeah, I'm still in my woolly jumper, but Do come along and say hello on Facebook, come along to Instagram. Please subscribe to the channel if you've enjoyed it. Press the bell if you want to be notified of more videos when they come out. And yeah, that's it for now. Okay, so I'm going to wish you a happy week ahead and I'll see you very soon. Bye.